Hello and welcome to today's session on Canvas's pages and rich content editor. Today we'll provide a brief overview of the Canvas page and rich content editor, which are the basis for creating content in your Canvas course sites. My name is Brandon Taylor, and I'm one of your friendly neighborhood instructional designers at the Center for Teaching Excellence and Innovation. So please feel free to ask questions as we move along in the session. It is being recorded, as you heard from the recording announcement, and we'll go ahead and get started. So here's today's agenda and objectives. So we'll cover how to create a modified Canvas page and then use Canvas Rich Content Editor, or RCE, to edit and modify and enhance your pages even further with that. So upon completion of this session, you'll be able to create and modify Canvas pages using the Rich Content Editor for further editing and modification as well. So as we get started, I want to bring your attention to three major or key resources for our Canvas migration. As you know, we'll be migrating, or we're in the process of migrating from Blackboard LMS to the Canvas LMS, or Learning Management System. So the first resource are the Canvas guides, and this includes not only typical quick guides, but also video overviews to virtually all of the Canvas features that you'll be using or might want to use. You can feel free to focus in on this QR code with your phone or tablet's camera, or with your phone or tablet's QR code, and that will take you to the link where you can find all of these helpful Canvas guides, again, including text-based guides and video guides. I've also provided the link to Rush's Canvas info site. So again, you can scan this QR code with your camera or your QR app on your phone or tablet, and that will take you to this link here, which provides all of the details and statuses of our Canvas migration, including the list of the various Canvas professional development or training sessions, and the link to log into Canvas, as well as a high-level time frame for the Canvas migration. And then finally, but definitely not least, is City's website, where again, you can scan the QR code and go to our website, and you'll find a variety of the resources from City that you can use. So I'll just quickly go and share my screen and just show you what these pages look like. So here is the Canvas resource page. As I mentioned, there's an instructor guide, there's guides for students, there's a video guide, which includes videos for students as well. This is the link to the Canvas resource or status page. So you'll find the link to log into Canvas here, as well as a high-level time frame for the Canvas migration, upcoming events, and then the link to the training schedule for this current term and summer, and the list of the various sessions, professional development sessions that we'll be having in Canvas. And so next, I'll show you the City website, which you may already be familiar with. And I'll just scroll down. We have a Canvas section now on this website. so you can find some additional Canvas information as well there. Next, I'll go to the Canvas login page, and actually I will put these resources in the chat just so you can have those links as well in case you weren't able to get it. So the first one is the Canvas guides. And then the next is the Rush Canvas page, or Rush Canvas LMS status page. And just in case, I'll put the city link as well. Okay, so great. So there you can see in the chat, we have all the links that I noted earlier. I'll share my screen again. And so now what we'll do is we'll log into Canvas, and I'm going to put this link in the chat as well. And this is again available in the Brush status page. So you have all those links in the chat as well. So you'll use your Rush email address and password to log into Canvas. And that's what that looks like. Okay, so you'll see that. So before we get started, I'm going to show a quick little highlight video from the Canvas guides that'll give you a quick overview, and then I'll do a brief demonstration as well. And so I'll go to this brief video, just be about 5 minutes or so, and you'll be able to do that. So I'm going to share my screen again. And so this is the page's overview. So I'm going to play that.
In this video, you will learn how to create and manage pages in Canvas. Using pages, you can add, format, and display content and educational resources that are part of your course. To get started, click the Pages link in Course Navigation. If you have selected a front page, click the View All Pages button. To add a new page, click the Add Page button. Give your page a title in the title field, then add text, media, and other instructional content using the new Rich Content Editor. Depending on your settings, you can manage editing access for your page by clicking the Options drop-down menu. By default, only teachers can edit pages. To add the page to students' to-do lists, click the Add to Student To-Do checkbox. To notify users of changes made to the page, click the Notify Users that this content has changed checkbox. To save your page as a draft, click the Save button. To save and publish your page in your course, click the Save and Publish button. After pages have been added to a course, they will display in the Pages Index page. The index page displays page titles, creation dates, last edit information, and, if applicable, the to-do date. To sort any of these columns in ascending or descending order, click the arrow next to the header. You can bulk delete pages by clicking the checkboxes of applicable pages and clicking the delete icon. To publish or unpublish a page from the index, click the publish icon. Click the options icon to edit, delete, or duplicate the page. You can also choose to copy the page to another course in which you are enrolled, or send the page to another instructor at your institution using the Copy to and Send to options. To set the page as the front page, select the Use as Front Page link. The selected front page displays when a user clicks on the Pages link in course navigation and, depending on your settings, can show as the course home page. Once selected, a front page tag displays next to the page title. To view a history of revisions made to a page, open the page by clicking the page title. Then click the Options icon and select View Page History. Anyone with page edit permission can view revision details, including the date, time, and author. To view a previous version of the page, click the revision date in the Revision History sidebar. To restore a previous version of the page, click the Restore This Version link. Thanks for watching this Pages Overview video. To learn more about Canvas, ask questions, or engage with other Canvas users, please visit community.canvaslms.com.
Okay, so that was a quick overview of the Canvas pages. Again, that was from the resource site, the Canvas guide site. And so now we'll do a brief overview or demonstration of creating pages and using the rich content editor in Canvas. So I'll share my screen again. And so you should see my screen now. It looks like it is. Oops.
What if we could take a full table?
Sorry about that. So you see my screen now. And so I'm just going to go to my sandbox. Turn on my laser pointer. And you can request a Canvas sandbox just by sending an email to city@rush.edu or contact any one of us at City. You can contact me, Brandon Taylor at Brandon_Taylor@rush.edu, or any one of your other friendly instructional designers or instructional technologists. We can create a sandbox for you. So when you log into Canvas, this is what you see. This first page here is part of our template that we'll be sharing with you for your courses. And to go to your pages, you would click here at Pages. And then click View All Pages. And you can see a list of all the pages that you have. From our earlier module, our earlier session, we talked about the Canvas modules. And so you'll see where you have your pages in your modules, within the modules, on the modules page with it. And that was in the earlier session, which was recorded. If you have other questions regarding modules, I can address those as well. And so we see here in this week 0 module, we have a notes page. And then in the week one module, see there's a notes page. These other items in this module's discussion, you tell by that, and then we have a file here. But this session will be focusing on pages. And so to add a page, and I should also, there's a refresher or to let you know, in Canvas, modules replace folders. So there aren't content folders in Canvas. There's content folders for your files, so you can organize your files actually in folders as you would in Blackboard and some other LMSs. But as far as the content, you would organize your content by these modules. So modules are equivalent to the folders in Blackboard. So to add a page or any other content in the module, you'll go over here to the plus sign in the module and click the plus sign, and you'll see this window come up. Then you can click this drop down menu and then choose page. And so you'll see a list of your existing pages. So if you wanted to you had a master page that you wanted to duplicate for all your modules or more than one modules, you could select that. Or you can click create page, and that's what we're going to do. And it will prompt you for a name for the page. And so we will call it a info page. Okay, that's spelled correctly. And I recommend that when you add content to a module, that you use at least one indenting level. You can go up to 3, but at least one, it'll help visually organize the content in your modules better. So I'll do that. And then I will click add item. And now you see we have an info page under the week 0 getting started module. When you add content to Canvas, it adds the newest item to the bottom of the module or page, whatever you're adding the content. It will add it to the bottom, the newest items to the bottom. You notice it's grayed out because it isn't published yet. So that's what this sign here says. It says if I click this, it will publish. That's why you see the drop down menu. So if I click that, it shows that it is published. If I want to unpublish it, I just click it again. Okay. Now to make edits to this page, we can either click these 3 dots here and click edit. Oh, excuse me. And we can edit the name. If we needed to change the indenting level, and then click update. So if we wanted to call it info page 1, click update, and now you see it's info page 1. But to make the edits inside of the actual page, you click on the page, see that it's blank, obviously now since we just created it. And then we'll click on the edit button. And here's where we can make the changes to the actual content in there. So let's again go over the brief menu items here. So again, we have the typical common text-based menus. So if you click on edit, you can do cut, copy, and paste, select all, undo, redo, view, go to full screen. If you need to make finer edits to your page, such as a specific color, and you use HTML hex code to get a specific color, you can go into HTML editor and make HTML code edits and edit the HTML code. Insert, you can insert a link, external links or course links. Images, you can upload the image from your computer, upload an image that already exists in your course, and other images. Media, similarly, you can upload or record media, so you can record media right in Canvas as well. You can upload your existing media in Canvas. And in documents, again, you can upload documents from your computer or from within the course. If you're doing, if you're creating content that has a lot of math equations for like pharmacy type courses or other equations, you could use the equation editor. You can insert a table and you can embed code. So for example, if you needed to embed like a YouTube video, this is where you can do that with the embed. So if I click embed, you would just copy and paste the embed code from YouTube or Vimeo, even Panopto and Microsoft Stream video embed codes. And then finally, in the insert menu, there's a horizontal line. So if you needed to put a line to separate content, you can do that. So that would create the HTML horizontal line there without doing the code. In the format menu, you see some of the typical or common items of bold, italic, etc. for fonts, subscript, superscript, even. The code, so if you needed to paste like a copy of computer code, you can do that with that. There's formatting, there's headings, again, font sizes aligned, direction, text color, etc. So very common features for editing that you would see in a rich content editor or word processing. There's something nice too, like a word counts, very nice. And then we don't have all of the integrations set up yet, but once we do, I believe Microsoft Office will be integrated as well. Again, it's not currently our integrations are not fully implemented in Canvas at this time, but my understanding the plan is to integrate them. You can see the different apps that are integrated with Canvas. So if you click on view all, you can see the different integrations that would happen. And again, like I said, right now, at this point of the integration, the integrations aren't there yet. And then there's the table, so you can modify your tables. Again, so that was the text-based menu, and here's just the icon version of that menu. So again, the formatting of the fonts, inserting links, images, inserting media or recording media, inserting documents. These are for the apps, and these are the alignments and bulleting and indentation. And then there's a clear formatting button here that, and again, for tables, math, equation editors, and embed. So we'll just briefly go ahead and create some text here. So we call this the information page. So just call it information, and we can bold this. We can change the heading of that if we wanted to. We could change the color if you wanted to change the color. Okay. And then we'll say room location. AAC 919. And I'll just put city. And then the hours. Actually, I can bold these. Typically from 9 to 5. By appointment. And obviously, just for the record, these are during the non-COVID hours, or COVID scenario right now. We're not in the office from 9 to 5 every day. Certain days where some of us come in with that, but put it in here just so people see this is a non-COVID-19 pandemic hours only. Okay. With that, that's Monday through Friday, just so that's clear too. Okay. So if I wanted to, I could just do a insert a document. So I will upload a document from my computer. And let's see. What document will I, oops, I'll go to my iCloud. That would be a better. So I'll just upload this document from higher ed. Okay. Oops, let's see what's happened there. Oops. Well, I did say upload document. Then you click submit. I didn't click the submit button. Sorry about that. Then click submit. And so now if I click on this, or then I click save, I'm sorry, click save. I haven't clicked save and publish. So if you save and publish, that makes it available. If you just want to save what you've done, you just click save. Okay. So it's not published, but it is saved. So this is for you to make your edits. And then once you're finished making the edits, you can click publish and that will be visible to the students. So if I click this link, nice thing with Canvas is that it typically opens files right in the viewer of Canvas. So students don't have to download the file. They can view it right in Canvas. If they do want to download the file, they can click this download button and it will download the file or open it in the viewer that it needs. Okay. So if I go back and click edit, I can make the changes, I can delete, etc. So I'll stop sharing right there. And I will share actually my screen here. And so just to recap of what we've done, of the objectives, we created a Canvas page. We modified that Canvas page and we used a rich content editor. So with the resources that we've shared in this session, as well as with myself and other city colleagues, you'll be able to create Canvas pages and use a rich content editor to modify Canvas pages. And so, again, I'll share these resources with you again, so you can have a chance to scan these QR codes to go to the links that I also put in the chat. And as always, we know you have lots of choices for your professional development. So we thank you for choosing City for your professional development. You can reach us at this email address at the top here. Cities, also my individual contact information. And I'll give you a few moments. You can scan these QR codes as well. So again, you have the information as far as our Canvas training, but you don't have to wait for those. You can always feel free to contact us. So thank you and have a great day.